WCHS Today, starring John Berkey. Hi, I'm your announcer, Tom Fishbach. Tonight we have a very special show with the kids on the block. They're going to do a show performance. And so as we wait for this band to stop, and now, here's Mr. John Berkey.
Tom, how you doing tonight?
Pretty good, John.
We'll be back over. We got all kinds of fun stuff tonight. We just got, last week we didn't have anything, and this week we've got billions of things to do, so it's going to be really quickly paced. Jim, how are you doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Now, do the surgeons not realize that it's about 0 outside?
Mm-hmm.
They don't realize that, or what?
No.
You guys didn't come dressed like this to school, I mean.
Why not? Think so.
Why don't you come to school this way tomorrow? I dare you.
Is that a dare, John?
That's a dare.
John, I think...
Well, now, what, money involved?
Is that a dare? I'll do it.
I don't know. I didn't say there's money in it. I just, kind of a dare. Anyway, you guys have, what are you going to do? You're going to a little contest. You guys are going to do what?
From
name that tune.
Name that tune. Yes, we.
All right, why don't we do that real
quick? This week
quick?
we have a note. Our first note. It's a popular rock song, and if you send in the letters to here, you could win 2 tickets to this movie upcoming.
Oh.
But Tony,
movie?
Play the one note. Just Tony, please play the one note. One note. Okay.
I know it!
That's our one note for this
On
week.
with the wind.
Da, 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 da.
No, it was. He's going back to his childhood. Let's see. What was my favorite song? Gone with the Wind. Yeah.
You're supposed to send in the letters too.
So they have to send in letters to find out.
Yeah.
And we only get one note, no clue.
Yeah.
Now name that tune, and they give you a clue.
Okay. It's a popular song.
Oh, come on. Oh, yeah.
Yeah!
Jeez. Yeah, people are stamping those letters right now. So you're not going to tell us till next week?
No, there'll be 2 notes next week. There's a note each week. Add a note.
Oh, until somebody gets it?
Yeah.
Song by next year.
This is going to be fun. Jim, thanks a lot.
Hey,
Oh, it's going to be fun. How long do you think this will go on? It might go on for the next, 15 weeks till the year's over? Well, we don't even have 15 weeks left, do we?
yeah.
We have a lot tonight. We have tonight with us some people from Kids on the Block program that put on a puppet show, and you saw those puppets before, and they're going to be out here in a little while, kind of talk about that program and demonstrate some of the puppets. But first, ladies and gentlemen, you notice up here we have our official Aggie countdown calendar, and now our calendar girl is going to come out to take one more week off the calendar.
Oh, yeah!
Woo!
Yeah!
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, only one more week till Mr. Egemeyer appears on the show. Anyway, Tom, what's been happening in your week?
I got my license, John.
You did, didn't you? You just told me that this morning. You just got it when, last night?
Yeah.
So, where'd you take your test at?
Roanoke.
Oh yeah. Did you pass really well? I mean, did you
Oh, yeah.
do anything wrong? Didn't go through the double stop sign or anything like that?
No, John.
No, no problem like that. Well, anyway, we thought, since you did take your driving test, that we would give you the official WCHS Today driving test. Now we have official rules of the road book right here. Yeah, Mr. Woodward's looking. Book? I didn't know there was any book involved. Well, that's why. No, but
I didn't use the road.
Anyway, so we're just gonna. There are a few questions in here. We thought we'd test you on to see if you know. Here's a really difficult question. Now think about this. When must the headlights be lighted? No. Now this may sound easy. Just think about it now, Tom.
I can't tell you, John.
Well, you can answer. These are the real ones. You can answer these. This is what from sunset to sunrise.
That makes sense.
Okay, that'd be probably when it starts.
Good answer.
What must you always do when you approach a yield sign?
Yield.
Yes.
Oh, yeah! Hey, what kind of price do we have for Tommy Baby, John?
And stop if necessary. Remember that. At what distance? This is one of those feet ones. At what distance must headlights be dimmed when meeting another car? And do you remember this? Now, I'm sure you learned this. It's in the book.
3 feet.
You do not want to be on the road with this man. 500 feet. Okay. Anyway, those are some real questions, but we have compiled a few questions from the official WCHS Today driving manual, and it kind of they're just kind of driving, tests for driving, around the school situation, which you won't find in the other book. We got a few questions here. Since there are no speed signs out in the parking lot behind the school, how do you know when you're going too fast? Well, you know you're going too fast when it hurts real bad when you go over the speed bumps.
Good answer.
They're not funny. These are questions. I mean, you know, what do you expect? What should you do if you hit Mr. Torrey's car out in the parking lot?
Darn.
Should buy a one-way plane ticket to Brazil. Stay there a real long time. Okay, all right, this is a multiple choice question, so we're going to give you A, B, C, D. What should you do if you're driving into school in the morning and Mr. Woodward is driving right next to you and he starts waving at you? A, wave back. B, pretend that you don't know him. C, drag him at the next stoplight. Or D, go back home because you know it's going to be a bad day and the day is jinxed. Yeah, what would you do?
D.
D, that's certainly what I think I do. Or you could just pretend you didn't know him and he'd be waving, you know, and everybody'd be kind of looking at it. It'd be kind of funny. Now, what should you do if you see Mike Hatfield driving behind you?
Get off the road because he doesn't have a light.
That's exactly what you should do. What is the most dangerous vehicle on the road? Well, I'll tell you. You don't know, right? Probably this wasn't in the book. The most dangerous vehicle on the road is Mr. Woodward driving his Woody Woodward truck to school in the morning before he's had his first cup of coffee. That is dangerous. I'll tell you, that Woody Woodward truck's dangerous in itself. We have now, well, you remember a couple weeks ago I read an article on the air about fainting in the Phil Donahue audience. 7 people fainted in the audience. Well, I just read in the paper this weekend an article about, and I'll just read the article to you. It says, Donahue show copes with fainting hoax. Stung by its first hoax in 17 years on the air, the Donahue show is very concerned about the incident in which 7 people faked fainting spells during a live broadcast last month, forcing the evacuation of the studio audience. We're looking into the incident, a spokesman for Phil Donahue's syndicated talk show said. It was revealed on Friday that the feigning by 7 members of the Donahue audience, January 21st, was really a hoax orchestrated by trickster Alan Abel. Abel and actress Deborah Harmon, who had fallen at Donahue's feet while asking a question, admitted to the stunt. Now, I'm just shocked because we read that, that something like a hoax would happen, but guess who we have here tonight? You remember that man's name I mentioned, Alan Abel? We managed to lure him to here tonight. Now, Merv tried to get him, but we got him first. We offered him a better deal. And here he is tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Would you please welcome that famous trickster, Alan Abel. Welcome to the show, Mr. Abel. How are you doing?
I'm pretty sure that you're glad I was able to make it tonight, John.
This famous trickster from New York City. Now, we read about you in the newspaper. Now, what did you do? You orchestrated. You have 7 actors and actresses in the Phil Donahue audience, and they fainted on cue?
On cue, yes.
Now, what would give you the drive to do a stunt like this?
Money.
Well, you mean some organization paid you to orchestrate this stunt? Was it kind of like a dare, like I dared the band?
No, it's my wife. She doesn't like Phil. She never got to be on the show for anything, so, I mean, why not get back at him?
Yeah. Well, you came to Washington this week, to Washington High School, and I hear that you're taking bids. You'll orchestrate any trick that anybody wants done. You say that you can do, right?
Bingo. Any suggestions?
Now,
one at a time, please.
So you got what, like a money back guarantee?
Disappear.
A money back guarantee. Could you do something like the Phil Donahue thing? I mean, we don't want people to faint here or anything, but
it is possible, John. No.
It is possible. What could you do? Is it what trick could you do?
Allow me to demonstrate, Tom. Me and Tom have talked about this beforehand, and let's go ahead and watch Tom. Tom, floor's yours.
Painting?
Yeah. Let's hear it for Tom, huh?
actually, Alan, that actress you had on Donahue did a lot better job. But,
John, I work with material I've got.
now, you told us about one prank you were going to pull around the school tomorrow about it had something to do with the bathrooms. Why don't you just tell us? I mean, it's kind of an old prank, but kind of funny yet.
It's rather silly.
Silly, yeah.
Well, John, I decided that I'd like to change the signs on the bathroom doors. This could create a little mass confusion, but isn't that what school's for?
I like this guy.
American way.
Yeah. Any other tricks you've got planned for around the school in your brief visit here in Washington?
Some of them I don't think I can say on Channel 5. We'll kind of hold off. You can write in and find out about them.
Well, are you a professional trickster? I mean, do you earn your living at this? You mentioned you got paid for the Donahue thing. Do you?
I rake in approximately $15,000 a week on just pranks and such.
Yeah, that's nice. Do you have anything big you're planning? I heard something had to do with. I heard something had to do with the president. You were planning something. I'm sure you wouldn't want to tell us.
No.
But I hear it's a big trick.
Let's just tell
And
Johnny
you're gonna
Carson to watch out. I'm headed down there next week, and
ooh,
it's going to be a
so
lot
the Tonight
of fun.
Show
John.
audience, huh?
Tonight Show audience.
That's really something. Alan, I want to thank you a lot for coming, and I'm glad you decided to go to us instead of Merv. Huh?
Yeah.
See you later.
I got your souvenir for you.
Yeah. Oh, a souvenir.
Here we go. A nice whoopee cushion here. Be careful with it.
A whoopee cushion. That's great.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, that was. Yes, sir. That was really fun. I'm glad we got him to come tonight. Anyway, before we get to our great guest tonight, we have some viewer mail. Now,
Hey, Mike.
this is the first week that we have official viewer mail. We have a few letters here. I guess they're students in. They're just students, and we're not going to read their names. We're not going to read their names. No, but these letters were sent into WCHS Today. The first letter says, "Dear John, I've never seen your show, and if I ever do, I'll probably like it." That was viewer mail. That was Gary Peoples from District 50. Mrs. Hatfield's class, maybe? Yeah. Mrs. Hatfield's class. Dear Mike and John, hi. I love your show. I watch it every chance that I get. The only problem is that I'm too short to turn on my TV. This is a real letter.
Notice just like David's letter.
Yeah, and it's signed the class gerbil, Ziggy. Here's the letter. Yes, it is a real letter. These are real letters, and we have a picture here. I think we're going to zoom in on this. The people of WCHS Today. This Cindy Culp. Cindy Culp has drawn a picture here. Is that what we look like?
Oh, John, you sort of look like the wide tie. I think she's trying to get that.
Well, anyway, we appreciate any artwork that we can get, and we encourage you to write in, and that's our viewer mail for tonight. We did get some more letters in the office, and we're going to be reading them on future weeks, but we really have to move on to the rest of the show. Tonight, as I mentioned in the beginning, we have some people tonight from Kids on the Block. We have the lady who's the coordinator of that, and we have our very own John Feeser, who's very active in that. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome them? Well, welcome to the show, John. This is old hat to you. We have Mrs. McCraith here, you're in charge of this program, right?
Yes.
Now, as we saw in the beginning, we have quite a few puppets over here, but before we go over there, why don't you explain a little bit, what's this program about?
Well, actually, it's a program that's designed to educate people about the handicapped and hopefully to help them understand that handicapped people can do all the things that everyone else can do.
So it's kind of just to teach people
That's
about
right.
those things. Where do you put on these shows at?
Well, interestingly enough, we put them on everywhere. Anyone that asks us to do a program, we try to coordinate the time with the time they have available and the time we have available. We started 2 years ago, and to the present date, we have coordinated programs with 48 different schools, some schools even asking us to come back several times. We also have done it for 68 organizations. So we think that it's a very popular thing, and people are very interested and ask many, many kinds of questions with this.
So I assume it's entertaining, too. aside
Well,
from being educational,
yes.
because if people enjoy it so much?
Yes, they do enjoy it. It is entertaining, and it fills a need, we think, for people to understand people who are different.
Are there pre-written scripts for these? Is that it's kind of like a regular puppet show, right?
Yes, it is a copyrighted program from Kids on the Block in Washington, D.C., and we can deviate a little bit from the script. Each student who does a puppet kind of puts their own personality in it, in the manner in which they present the puppets. But actually, it's a syndicated program, and we follow that program.
Okay, now, John, you mentioned there's some even copyright problems with tonight, right?
Well,
it's a non-for-profit organization, right? So why, but you do have to buy the scripts and things, right?
yes, puppets are very expensive.
So you can't do any part of a script for us tonight, is that right?
No.
And there's limits to how long the puppets can be on, and we run into copyright problems all the time. It's becoming my favorite vocabulary word, copyright. We ought to copyright this show. That's what I always thought. So people.
Well, the major problem with it is that radio or TV stations can edit scripts, and that's the concern of Kids on the Block.
You don't
that
want
it
them
would be
shown in
edited.
part, yeah.
Yes, because if you saw part of the script and didn't see it all, there would be a lack of understanding. That's the major problem.
So this is a national organization, right?
Yes.
You're in charge of it locally, so I assume they're all over the country?
Yes, they are, and it's becoming more and more popular. Actually, locally, the American Red Cross and Easter Seals co-sponsor the program. So part of the puppets that you will see belong to Easter Seal Center, and part of the puppets belong to the American Red Cross Youth. It's only youth money that has been put into these puppets. And the youth funds come from enrollment drives and money that the American Red Cross Youth Council actually raised.
Okay.
So young people are doing the program. We have over 50 puppeteers involved.
Now they're from all different schools in the Peoria area, right?
This is right, and of course we're very pleased that Washington Community High School has participated. Particularly the Key Club has been very active with it. And as the students start, they get a button which says Kids on the Block when they participate in a workshop. And after they've done 5 shows with puppets, then they get a Kids on the Block T-shirt. And some of our
This must take up a lot of time, John. How much?
It takes up a great deal.
How much time does it really take? You mentioned you've done 60 schools, and I mean that's a lot of shows.
Well,
Now, every person though doesn't go to every show, right?
That's right.
Isn't it like a rotating schedule?
there's a rule, and that's why we need so many people, that one student is only allowed to get out of one class period hour once a month. So we need people to do all these shows. Plus,
So you need a lot of people to rotate in.
that's right.
But, well, I know like with you mentioned a lot of times you have to go to practices and things like that.
We have an hour practice twice a week.
Okay, and
Every
you
week.
just go over the scripts, because you really, like she said, you're just putting on a show, like
Yeah,
anything
we-
else, right?
We run through the scripts and practice on,
How many people from Washington are involved in this?
let's see. Right now we have close to 10.
Okay. How long has this program been going on, Mrs. McCrae?
It started in 1980 in Washington, D.C., actually evolved from a special education class where Barb Elio, who actually fostered all of these children, had a student in her class who was to go to a regular division class. And he was very apprehensive about it, and she made a contract with him that if he would go to the class and try to do the job, she would go to the class prior to that and teach the children how this particular student was different. And we say these kids are handicapped, they are different kids.
Well, I use the word handicap. Now, John told me earlier you're not supposed to use that word.
right.
What do you use?
They're different.
Different or disabled is more than not used as different.
That's right.
Because you're just trying to get the point across that that they can do a lot of the same things that.
Absolutely.
Well, why don't we go over now and take a look at some of the puppets? And we've got about 4 people they've been standing back here for about 5 minutes, getting hot. What are you going to explain what each?
Yeah, Yes, we'll tell you a little
Puppet
something
really does.
about them. Next to John, actually, is Nam. He's Vietnamese and likes his country so well that he wears red, white, and blue all of the time. The young man in the wheelchair is Mark Riley, and he has cerebral palsy, has had it since birth. The boy in back of Mark is blind, and he does a dialogue that has to do with being able to do all the things that other people can do. Melody is sitting next to Mark here, and she's the kid on the block who asks all the kinds of questions. Behind Melody is Diane Delaney. Diane is in remission from cancer, and as she talks with her friends, they all want to know why she's wearing the headscarf. And of course, then she flips her head over to show that her hair is all gone. Do you want to pull her head? That's it. Good. You can see that.
So that'd be from the chemotherapy.
That's right. I was very interested in a show we did at Washington High School, or Washington Grade School, excuse me, in Peoria. It was a science class, and the teacher told about a young man coming into their class who was in remission from leukemia. And of course he had lost all his hair, so the mother had painted a happy face on the back of the head and said, you know, it took courage for the kid to come to school, but the kids loved it, and of course all of them
got to make light of it and do the best,
this is right.
the best with the situation
This
that you can.
is right, and they love the happy face on his head. Then if we can move Valerie just a little bit this way, you can see Sarah, who has a prosthesis. And some of the kids ask her why she doesn't get herself an artificial hand. She said she doesn't need it because she can make her hook do anything
She can
that
do more with the
wants
hook
to.
than she could do.
That's right. And then next to Sarah is Stephen. And as you can see, Stephen is a child abuse situation. And the kids, you know, want to know if he isn't really mad at his mother and because she's done all these things to him. And he said, no, she's trying to get help now, and she really loves me, and she's not going to do this any longer. And then, of course, we have dear Valerie, who has spina bifida, and she wants to be a cheerleader, and so she shows the kids how she can really do cheers, and she can jump, and she, too, can be a cheerleader. Then, if you can see Joanne has zits, and she wants to be a cheerleader, too. And she promises if she gets to be a cheerleader that she's going to quit eating so many candy bars and French fries and soda. And then, of course, we have little Brenda, and Brenda thinks she's too fat. She really isn't, but she's very self-conscious about that. Of course, we have many
So all these kids up here aren't really handicapped. They're just, some of them even deal with just what common teenage problems.
That's right.
And so they help these kids to understand that.
That's exactly right.
These puppets look pretty elaborate. How much does one of these cost? I heard they're
Well,
quite expensive. That's why I
That's
asked.
right. The first three puppets we purchased were Mark and Melody, and then Mandy, who's hearing impaired. We don't say she's deaf, she's hearing impaired, and she does lip reading and sign language. Those three puppets were just short of $2,000. And dear little Valerie here was $700.
Are these all like, are they mass produced? I mean, is there, you know, or are they all like handmade or?
To some degree, they're handmade. It's interesting too because they buy the clothes from one of our local big chain stores. Actually, all the clothes come from one place, and when we order them, it's usually 6 months or 6 weeks to 2 months before they even arrive on hand. So I think they are simply produced as the demand arises.
Does one company produce these for the whole country?
Yes.
As far
This
as
is right.
the puppets go?
Right. And we are now trying to raise funds for a show that's Turning On, which is substance abuse. And there are 4 puppets that we want to get. These puppets, we sent letters out to all the schools in the area 2 years ago. and offered them a program for kindergarten through fourth grade. It's interesting the number of questions that the kids ask. On the other hand, the turning on, turning off program, which we anticipate getting before the end of this school year, will be geared toward the middle school, 5th grade through 8th grade, where substance abuse seems to be starting to the fullest, and we feel that it'll be a very worthwhile.
You try and help make people aware of these problems, maybe even before they begin.
This is right.
You know, instead of when you do shows for schools, do you ever do it for high schools? You mentioned quite a few grade schools.
We did.
Just basically grade schools, or?
We did a program for a group of high school students, and we do that on request. That was at the United Methodist Church in Peoria, over 100 high school students, and they are from all around
from all different
the
high
territory.
schools.
This is right. So it was, and there was over 100 students there. But there are other groups. We have been asked to do programs for Sunday schools, and you get high school students
Yeah,
there
so a lot
too.
of times you have
You have a
great-
cross section.
Yeah.
Right.
Are they going to do anything? Or?
No, they can't.
Okay, they can like
Copyrighted.
Copyright.
You can see them, and
Can you say copyright?
that's right, and we have to be very careful what we do.
Now, does one person just do one puppet all the time, or do people switch around? I mean, do you kind of have to get to know the character of the puppet?
They switch around. Once you learn to operate a puppet, you can operate most of them outside of Sarah and Mandy, who's the hearing impaired. So that actually it's learning the script to get that down so that you can do it with ease. And we have a very catchy little song that the kids do at the beginning of the puppet shows about kids are different. And it is very catchy. And you'll notice the children in the audience are swinging with the puppets as they do the song, so that it really is quite good.
Listen, why don't we go back over the desk to finish this up while these people sit down, and they're getting hot up here. Now, one of the things you did mention, though, that is there is a question session, right?
Yes.
When people can ask questions. What are some of the most common questions you get?
John, would you like to do that?
Well, a lot of it depends on the puppet that's being done. For Mark Riley, who is in the wheelchair with cerebral palsy, the most common question I would say is, how do you get to school? And then we talk about how he has...
So do the puppets themselves answer that? I mean,
Yes,
whoever's...
they do.
So,
Yes, they do.
so you have to have not only know your script, but who's ever doing that puppet, what has to know a lot about
That's
the
right.
disease, or not even a disease, but something like acne.
Well,
You have to, be able to
not
answer
a
those
whole
questions.
lot, because we stress the point that these are kids, and they're not going to know everything there is to know about being deaf or hearing impaired. And in a case where you don't know a question, you say, "I'm sorry, I really don't know that. Maybe you could ask your, teacher, or Mrs. McCraith will answer," or something like that.
Are there any dates coming up pretty soon at any place you might want to mention? If people wanted to see this in action? You, I know you probably didn't bring your calendar.
Well, I have my calendar with me, but for instance, in 31 days in January, we did 24 shows. In
So
February,
they are all over. And this is just in the Peoria area, right?
Tri-County area.
Well, Tri-County, we've gone to Spring Valley, we've gone to LaSalle, Peru, we've gone to Lake and Varna. Today we went to Walnut, so we travel a good distance.
Oh,
for
okay.
shows,
So it's not
anyone
just
who asks.
the Peoria area, but
No,
kind of
it's
spread
well,
out.
but you see, Easter Seals actually serve about 10 counties, and the Red Cross does as well. And when we go to schools, we have some classroom stimulation materials that the teachers can use as a follow-up after we leave, so that they can go on with sign language, they can go on with cerebral palsy and do a communication board, that kind of thing that we have presented.
Uh-huh. And which organization are you with? You mentioned, are you with the Red Cross?
I am American Red Cross Youth
Is that why you wore red?
Service
Is that-
Committee. No,
It wasn't
February.
planned, right?
No, February is my month to wear red. March I wear green. But no, I work both with Easter Seals and with American Red Cross. But I
You
have
work with-
been.
do you personally work with on other things besides this program?
I
at
do.
Red
Yes,
Cross?
well, not with Red Cross, but I volunteer for Girl Scouts, Kickapoo Council, Girl Scouts, and in both organizations I've worked with them for.
And this is
some
all
27
volunteer,
years.
right?
Right.
This is not, you don't get a paycheck, but this is
No,
something...
no. I retired from public education 9 years ago, and I am enjoying my retirement with all these kids who are community conscious.
So it keeps you
and
doing what you like to do.
That's
and
right.
you're helping out a lot of
You had
people.
asked earlier, besides the Washington High School kids, we have Bergen and Academy Spalding students who are involved with this as well. And when one student has volunteered to do a program and has a test, then another student says, oh, well, I will take their place. So there's always a student who will fill in. It's beautiful.
It's probably a good way for people to get to meet other people at school.
That's right.
That's
They love it.
right. That's right.
John loves that.
That's all I'm going to
No
say.
comment.
Well, I really want to thank the two of you for being here and coming here to show this, and hopefully people understand this a little bit better. Anyway, before we go, we have a couple announcements. I was handed this. There's a basketball game coming up this weekend that we want you all to know about because I know I'm going to be there. Wouldn't miss it.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be semi-professional. Semi-professional. Basketball game on Saturday, February 9th. That's this Saturday, and I guess we're on a Sunday now, so it was last night if you're watching us on Sunday. Your loss. The Wacko High faculty will be playing against the Bud Light 106. Are you plotting the Bud Light part? In fact, I didn't know we could say that on the air. I guess in that context. Anyway, the Surgeons are going to play. I just found that out today. What the Surgeons are going to play at the Fiesta. And Nerd Night is Friday night at the basketball game, and of course Mike Hatfield will just come in his regular school clothes.
Oh, he's a joker. He's a funny man.
Huh? Oh, it's the basketball team is the game is for spastic paralysis, and I guess it costs $1 to get in, but all the proceeds go to that cause. So it'll be fun to see your favorite teacher, as they say on the announcements, play basketball.
Or your unfavorite teacher.
Yeah. If you don't have
Better
any
yet.
No, so why don't you get out and go to that? The entire WCHS Today people will be there, so hey, it's got to be a gala event. Anyway, before we go, remember, friends, only one more week until Mr. Egemeyer visits. So go out and make it a good week. Good night, everybody.